Hello, Pisces, and welcome to Soulfire Tarot. My name is Steve. This is for the month of March 2025. And to begin, I'll do a couple draws from the Psychic Tarot. All right. At the top, we have the Prosperity Begins card. And at the bottom, the Seven of Wands. Stand your ground. All right. So I'll let these hang out up top. Next, I'll start drawing from the broader tarot, upright and reversed. Later, we'll do a animal guidance spirit card and be looking into the obsidian to glean additional insights from spirit. All right, Pisces. Definitely a theme this month so far. Two in a row. It's funny. And a sixth. We're going a bit longer with this one. Excellent. Wow. Been getting a lot of that card. All right. So to read them off, we have the Prince of Swords in reverse. We have the Four of Pentacles reversed, the Eight of Cups upright, the Six of Wands upright, the Ten of Wands upright, and the Queen of Swords. Yeah, I feel like for some of you Pisces, some things, some ideas just have not been working out. Something that has been relating to your treasure, your gift, whatever that may be, something just hasn't been quite going as you would have liked it to be, or perhaps some of you have just been hesitating on it, and this is kind of like a permission slip giving. We see the Eight of Cups coming after those first two, which is signifying, walking away from something perhaps that's not working, or just moving on from something that just hasn't gone expected, that hasn't let you kind of tap in to your gifts, or perhaps you just haven't been in the space or opportunity to be able to really kind of unlock that and share that on your way. Perhaps you've been like a little too stubborn or greedy or like picky with it, where there might have been opportunities, but your idea and expectation of how you imagined it was going to be might have not been what was coming your way, that the universe was kind of bringing. But I feel like this is kind of encouraging, like moving on. And then we have the Six of Wands here, the celebratory energy, around you, like celebrating an accomplishment here in this energy of March. Like being recognized for, the creation, all these things that have brought things together, it's like worthwhile celebration. So perhaps for some of you, especially seeing prosperity beginning and standing your ground up here, the One of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, you've got, and then as well as the Seven of sword or wands here. I feel like this is encouraging you to kind of like understand, like to keep striving for, finding what's right for you. And we see here also, this makes sense, like the Ten of Wands, like an obstacle, think of like gatekeepers, whatever that might mean. This could also represent like a fear or an inner barrier, like there's some kind of threshold where there's an obstacle, and there might be people who are kind of like holding you back, from like getting to where you want to be. It could also be signifying that place of wherever you're being gatekept isn't for you, and I feel like that's part of what this card, the Queen of Swords, is kind of showing, is, being admitting the truth, recognizing the truth, and seeing how liberating that can be. We see this kind of like Kali Ma figure with this head in her hand, this bloody sword, and she's like, ah, but she has this cherubim over her chest as she sits on a diamond seat, up in the clouds with the stars overhead. So yeah, I feel like this is kind of suggesting, wielding the truth and recognizing the truth of this situation, standing your ground, and understanding that could be kind of what makes a difference when it comes to, finding prosperity and stability, when it comes to, possible financial, work opportunities or something here. So I'm going to read a little bit more into this. I'm going to draw kind of over that and get some more clarity with the psychic tarot cards here. Yeah. Oh, actually, it was this one. Yeah. Yeah. So movement, choices, and decisions. Yeah. Things are in motion, Pisces, and you have a decision before you. This is the Two of Pentacles, like, where is this going? So yeah, I feel like you're kind of on a search to kind of, just kind of discover where the flow was going, like what is right for you, what's the next move, that kind of thing here, and possibly during this month of March. I'm going to now draw below the first six of the general tarot spread here to get some added clarity, depth, and dimension for you, additional to this theme, because there's always more nuance. And for that, I'm going to draw up the spread and now read them a bit more energetically, intuitively. Yeah, we have this underneath the gatekeeper cards. People that are putting your passion out, people that are like high and mighty in their position. We have the Knight of Wands. I'm seeing this person who's just kind of like brazen, he's like holding this flame, this opportunity. And I feel like this, could represent, people who are kind of like blocking your passion, just straight up blocking an opportunity. But this could also, again, just to kind of be representing something internally as well. It could be recognizing that there are some obstacles or something that you don't feel passionate about perhaps where you're at in your grounds right now, whatever that might be. Let's keep going here. We have the Hierophant underneath the Prince of Swords reversed. So the Prince of Swords is like kind of like divine. You're like in tow with like the divine guidance, like the flow, the alignment of life. It's kind of the upright version of the Prince of Swords here. Like being carried by these cherubims in this chariot, and he's confident. It's like, yeah, let's go, we're doing it. Kind of heroic and like, yeah, yeehaw. But underneath this, with that card reversed, we have the Hierophant, representing like higher wisdom, higher knowledge. So yeah, I feel like this is suggesting to possibly turn towards like mentorship, people who are stable, grounded, and experienced, perhaps in the field of whatever this is kind of like speaking to for you, or even possibly, like doing some reading, whatever might be helping kind of like edifying you to help kind of get you in alignment to better be poised in a position where things could be kind of moving, where it will give you a bit more direction, perspective, and wisdom to be able to kind of orient and get some perhaps advice from, like an elder or somebody just more experienced in a position. It also could be signifying that perhaps this was you. Perhaps you've learned enough with whatever is not working to know that it's not working, to be able to move on from whatever's going on here that you might be moving on about, or separating from, some people and how they feel about something you may feel different. Yeah, so we have the Wheel of Fortune here. I feel like fortune is in your favor, Pisces. I feel like this goes underneath the Eight of Cups, which is just what I was talking about, like moving on, feeling different, kind of separating yourself from this like body of water, which could represent, like a certain set of feelings, a certain, group of feelings, perhaps from like people, a certain circle, or, like an area of life that, may have been nourishing for a time and still is for some people, but perhaps it's not for you. Perhaps it's time to move on, or you already have moved on. And I feel like that is indicating that as you move, the wheel of fortune is moving. I like to think that we can jump in, through these different, in between these different spokes, and it'll take us somewhere different, right? And that things are in motion, kind of like this water wheel, and it's a very auspicious sign. This monkey with one just kind of sitting here, with the Sphinx on top too, being in alignment with like the cosmos, and on this pillar transmitting, the wheel. The wheel of the cosmic wheel of fortune down into the earth, into this kind of primal base that kind of has to do with fate and destiny. So I think that's an auspicious good sign. It also lines up with the prosperity begins card here, which is the Ace of Pentacles and a new opportunity. So I feel like this is kind of the key sign indicator, the key pillar here right now is relating to prosperity, moving on, and understanding how that can change the tide in the wheel of fortune. So I feel like next I see the Six of Wands, the celebration, the like recognition, like I feel like this is kind of like the future potential here, and like achieving a victory for yourself and whatever it is that you're carrying, Pisces. So yeah, let's see here more. Yeah. Yeah, so underneath the Four of Pentacles reversed, which is kind of like the locked treasure, and like trying to find opportunities of like, oh, I want somebody to come unlock this. I have this all stored up, like I'm just waiting, like out here, like who's going to come along, to like share it. You need to go out and share your gifts. And since that's in reverse, I feel like there's kind of been a lack of that. Like it hasn't connected so far. So we draw the strength, having the strength to overcome these things that may be impulsive, things that are kind of wild, and like taming the beast. I wonder what the beast is in relation to this locked box, so that's kind of a question you can metaphorically toy around of like, what is the beast that is guarding, the locked box of my gifts and treasures, and how might you tame it, because once you can tame it, you can direct it, like a seal. Orf, orf, do a trick. No, I don't know. Yeah, you lost me there. Gotta have fun. Alrighty. Oh, by the way, I'm going to do insult tarot just for fun at some point, not per sign, just like in general for people who want to like cosmically roast themselves a little bit. That'll be fun. So yeah, underneath the Six of Wands here, I drew the Four of Swords, which is the card of like restoration, like refortifying, like kind of like resting up after, some damage, some battle, some effort, needing to reconsolidate your energy. But I see that underneath the Six of Wands. So I feel like what this is kind of suggesting is like just generally take rest, and that's going to help support you, to come to this more of like a victory, like in balance of things. And these three are, or these two, those two cards are lining up under Stand Your Ground, so yeah, how pertinent to have this card, which is also a knight. He has his armor off. He's in this castle. There's shields up on the wall. The light is coming out. He's got his like supportive, loving partner or whatever next to him, as he's like resting and kind of battered, needing to take rest so he can like get back on his stomping grounds, to get back to like a victory and the celebration, and the rewards of everything, standing your ground. So I don't think it's necessarily for everybody potentially like a fighting scenario. It's more so about like standing your ground and like having like, this is mine, like I claim this, this is my place in the world, and I am the caretaker here, I am responsible for this, like a shepherd, like on a property or something. But we also see this kind of Herculean, like Hercules, um, planet, with like an eclipse, and he's like, against this planet, this gargantuan force standing up against that. And I feel like that's you, Pisces. That's saying like, yeah, rest in order to take on the world, because like you can do it, and it's awesome. It's beautiful to see, you and your flow and everything like that. So, all right, one more for the Princess of Swords. Yeah.
I can't find anything playing right
Whoops. That freaks me out every time it happens at 11. I thought I changed that. I have my plants back here, right? And I was like, I have a Google Nest thing. I'm going to have it play like plant growth music from like 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I thought I changed it last night to 11 p.m. to be the cutoff. Or no, excuse me, 11 a.m. because I found that I was coming off at 11 p.m. But apparently that did not work or save on my phone properly. So it's 11 p.m. and Google is like, oh, I didn't find that because there's no music playing to tell it to stop at 11. So whatever. Getting back to the point here, Queen of Swords, right? So like truth and the power, the liberation of that, and like getting free of identities, getting free of projections, getting free of people's expectations, whatever this might be, right? Being liberated and enlightened from that. We have beneath that the Eight of Pentacles. And I feel like for some of you, this is kind of like your edge, it's scary, to like be vulnerable and stand your ground, with like some truth. But think about how that relates to movement, choices, and decisions when it comes to the outcome of the pure potential and opportunity for growth and abundance. So like, is the juice worth the squeeze, so to speak, as some other tarot reader says? Yes. So we see here the snake, on this threshold in this like Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones type shindig. There's this little snake and she's like, stepping, you don't want to step on it. But that snake, yeah, it's dangerous, but like step back a little bit, look at the snake and be like, okay, this is a snake. I'm a human. I have arms. I'm more capable than this, little fearsome snake. There's means to get around the snake. Maybe you just need a stick in your life. Metaphorically, what is the snake at this threshold? What is the subject of fear? And what stick, what tool, what can you do about the fear? Now what can you do about the obstacle? And so I feel like this connecting with this decision gate of possibilities pertaining to abundance and standing your ground in the truth, that it's really going to connect power. Like, I don't think you fully understand how liberating the truth can be when it counts, and how much of a difference that can make in your life. So for those of you that resonates, I highly encourage you. And, maybe you can start small. I'm not like trying to preach like, be drastic. I am a volcano. No, like none of that is necessary for everybody. But yeah, whatever's speaking to you. So I'm going to draw an animal card or two for you, Pisces, and see what animal spirit is communicating for the energy theme of this month for you. Chickadee. Believe. We have the Believe card, which shows a cute little lappy-eared rabbit with some horns. Maybe I think it's a jackalope with some butterflies, indicating transformation and metamorphosis, the flowering bloom. So yeah, believing, like believing that it can be possible, believing that it can be real, and like having a rabbit is very sensitive and agile, creature, very in tune with its environment. It's able to move, and hop about different places quite agilely. But it's also very sensitive, that's kind of its, the polarity, axis there, for it has agility and sensitivity because it's vulnerable. It's very sensitive, but that sensitivity gives it a great depth of, kind of like tactile beauty, like think of how soft and, wonderful a rabbit feels, but how graceful, and like good-hearted little rabbit can be, especially a jackalope. They could come stab you, but they don't want to. Those antlers are more for just like, "Rrr," I don't know, mating shit. Anyways, I was joking a bit there. Cool. All right, now let's tune into the obsidian sphere. See what we might be able to glean. This magical little specimen. Connection. Connection is the nexus of feeling. The reeling of feeling in the web of being. The reeling of feeling in the web of being. Connection. How we connect. How we translate. How we translate meaning to and from each other. How we understand and connect with meaning through life. Connection is at the heart and soul of being. Without connection, nothing could be. For in order to have something, there needs to be point perspective reference from one thing to another in order to have the definition of self and other. Connection is what life is all about. How do we connect? Whom do we connect? Why do we connect? What are we connected with? Essentially everything. But part of the beauty is choosing how and why we connect. And the journey of realizing how and why we connect with things. Pisces. Spicy Pisces. Alrighty. This is Teal Swan's Oracle Blind Spot cards. So let's see what's in the shadow for some of you, but not all of you. So if you like this reading, if it's resonated with you, give it the big old thumbs-a-roo. And if you don't like it, just downvote it, but I'll never know. Thanks, YouTube. And yeah, if you'd like to leave a comment, I would super appreciate it. It helps support the channel. Something resonated. If you have any questions, thoughts, yada, 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 feedback, I'm here for it. So anyways, now for the blind spot card drawing part. Potatoes. It is the potato card. You are not eating enough potatoes. Wow, I didn't even look at it before I said potato, and it kind of looks like a potato or a pear or a smurf or something else suggestive. Maybe a slug. Anyways, it is the 5. Let's look into that sigil and see what this Bookaroonie says. I'm going to be such a funny uncle when I'm older. 5. Bulldozing. Alrighty. If you have drawn the sigil, you are bulldozing a part of yourself in the situation. What does that mean? How can you bulldoze yourself? It's like, go. Consciousness itself functions like water. If you're looking at a river from above, you can see that a large river often branches off into smaller rivers, and each time this happens, there's less water available to the main river. Due to trauma, which occurs in all people's life with no exception, the question is simply to what degree our consciousness then splits just like the river does. It splits so that instead of whole, we are fragmented. It is easier to comprehend this process of splitting, that is, fragmentation, in terms of how it affects our being by imagining that when our consciousness splits as a result of trauma, our ego splits in two. And it can do this over and over again. This means even though we have one body within that body, we end up with multiple selves. The best way to picture this is to imagine inside your body, you have a collection of Siamese twins. They are technically all conjoined because they share one body, but each one has its own identity, its own desires, needs, perspectives, strengths, weaknesses, and appearance. Some of these internal Siamese twins we like and identify with. Others we disidentify with, suppress, deny, and disown. We have good reason for approving our parts approving of parts of ourselves and rejecting others. But no matter how we spin it, it means that we are polarized. You have experienced this polarization anytime that you come to a place where you have to make a decision, and part of you says yes while another part of you says no. When we are faced with this situation, we usually begin to play a zero-sum game internally. We make a decision, so the part of us that says yes has won, the part of us that says no loses. It is as if part of us is saying no to something, is standing in front of a bulldozer being driven by our other part, and instead of creating resolution so that both parts feel in alignment with the choice being made, the one driving the bulldozer simply runs over the one protesting. This creates an internal atmosphere of distrust. It is an antagonistic internal atmosphere. The Siamese twins that we tend to bulldoze the most are those that feel fear. We cannot bulldoze our fear without creating more fear. Instead, we need to take loving care of our fear. Interesting. Yeah, that kind of makes sense when like you think about how yeah, I see that better now. Like the this concept of bulldozing. You know, if we feel afraid of something and we're just like we're not really acknowledging it and like validating just its existence, that we're feeling it, not even to determine whether or not the thing we're afraid of is real, you know, because that might just be illusory and something within our own belief, or it could be something real. You know, it depends where it's coming from. You know, what does it connect to? You know, and that's something we can feel from within ourselves. There's something some of my friends in my men's group have kind of been talking about and introducing me to, something called somatic experiencing. And something they've been using AI to kind of like walk them through it almost as like a self-catalytic therapeutic journaling process and like psychosomatic processing, like a therapy. So anyways, like, you know, there could be something like, oh, I'm feeling this in my gut or my solar plexus. And you can connect through that, kind of go through this like dialogue to be able to like feel it and then go deeper through your feeling, through your sensation, your memory complex, to be able to be like, oh, this connects to this. And when you bring that to the light of awareness, you know, just the pure isness of your awareness, the consciousness, that brings light to it. And then that light can penetrate and soften it and dissolve it and liberate it, right? Where it's like, oh, all of a sudden that energy can release and that energy can be freed up to go to something more positive because it's not stuck and settled inside of us. And the key is like processing it to understand it, to get the insight, right? That oftentimes comes automatically. Or it's like, oh, I was feeling angry because I felt like I was not being honest with myself about how I truly felt about something, you know, and then once you feel it and like make the connection, then it like can move because then you've completed like the emotional circuit. So just as an example of like bulldozing again, like if there's something that we're afraid of or we feel shame about or we really like, but we're like not acknowledging it and like validating it, and we're pushing ourselves with this other emotion that we ought to and should based on our conditioning. Yeah, I can see how that bulldozing metaphor works. So it sounds like the key of this reading for that was about recognizing that and then working with those separate parts so they can come into congruency. It's like, oh, hey, they're little afraid me. That's okay. I love you. Let's come over here. It's okay. I recognize how you feel. So I'm going to be careful around this and make sure you feel safe and secure so that this other part of me, we can go through this together, you know, like the inner child kind of idea. So wonderful. Pisces. I love doing Pisces reading. My rising sign is Pisces. So I actually have a lot of resonance with the Piscean energy theme as well, even though my Capricorn sun is the core. So many blessings. Like and subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs down. See you next month. Peace.